Olá, boa noite.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today with this event, Talk Your Business, English, an exchange in English and how So Bilingui can make the access more democratic. I'm Jason Diet. I'm the uh, Global Director of Uninter. And the most important thing here are the people and their message to us. Today, we're going to learn directly from the founder of So Bilingui um, and her director, education director, who about the program that made So Bilingui one of the greatest small NGOs in Brazil. It's impressive the impact that they have, and you're going to have the opportunity to listen from the experience of two fellows that were part of the program, and it's very interesting to listen to them. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so feel free to write down your questions or comments, and we're going to try to address as many questions as possible at the end. So you don't need to write it down more than once. And we're going to know about the next um, application process that's going to start in a few weeks. So pay attention because I think that's a great opportunity for you to take part of this application process. Before talking about the format, I'd like to thank all Uninter schools, our partners in Talking Business, marketing team who helps, and So Bilingui, especially on behalf of Guanaíra, who is one of our Uninter students, and Ariana, who uh, is part of this whole process. I'm going to have a one-on-one conversation with Ariane, and then I'm going to talk to Guanaira, and then with Joyce and Sarah, and the second block's going to be the Q&A session. But in the beginning, you're going to have a switch between Portuguese and English. I'm going to ask some questions in Portuguese, and then I'm going to rest my mind and go to English, and then they have to use their pad. Now, Ariane Noronha, I'm going to be very brief. She's the CEO and founder of So Bilingui, and she left the beginning of her career as a journalist in Brazil to go to the US as a babysitter. And I think it was in 2014. And this international experience was really um, a mind-blowing experience. So from then on, she decided to do a job and help students in Brazil to go to the US. So Guanaira was born in France. She she was raised in Brazil. She is one of our Uninter's ambassadors, and she's educational director of So Bilingui. So if you cannot get excited about her, I cannot do it. So we have two students, two former participants of So, Sarah Rosângela Silva, who traveled from Grajaú in the south uh, neighborhood of São Paulo to the Hawaii, an awesome place. I'm really jealous about her experience. And Joyce, who is here with us from Chicago right now, she is one of the talents that, thanks to the experience that she had at So Bilingui, managed to have this long-term experience. She's been there since January 2023, living in the US. So with that, welcome, Ariane first, and let me start with the question. I'm really curious to find out what is the goal and the mission, the guide that drives So Bilingui. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you here and Uninter Global Hub. So talking about So Bilingui is something really exciting. So mission is to change the life of low-income young people with exchange and English classes. So we have a story. I was a babysitter in the US. I was the first person in my family to sit food at an airport or take a plane abroad. And I have never imagined that an international experience to change my life as much as it did. And I didn't know that English was the highlight of my experience. And now I know everything that we learn in Brazil, all the experiences that we have, living alone. We start thinking about our culture, about Brazil, about the differences all over the world. And this is something really great. And that allowed me to go back to Brazil and trying to use English as a way to transform people. First of all, helping people from low-income families to develop their language skills. And then I founded my own uh, NGO, So Bilingui. So um, so important, this first experience. We have so many programs where it's hard to open the door, and so is focusing on training people, and not only in terms of language, but also excitement and mindset for them to access these transformational experiences. So, Ariane, can you tell us a little bit how the application works? To get into So, we assess people's commitment to be part of So. They have to be in line with our values: commitment, integrity, creativity, persistency, and open mind. We talk a lot about that, that to take part of So, you must have these characteristics, and that these are our values. And our students, they follow this excellently. So we do this application process that lasts around a couple of months, and they have to deliver their tasks on time. They have a motivation letter, why you want to be part of it, why you want to learn language as a second language. We take all that into account. We don't take into account whether they know English, know nothing about English. Everybody's going to have the opportunity. So we have a bunch of students who are actually beginners, English beginners. That's very important to us. We know that people do need it. So that's what we take into account, because these people must be aligned with our values. Now, thinking about who has already benefited from SOUL's training and your scholarships, what will be the main um, characteristics and features of these candidates, of the applicants, for both the programs, or those who managed to get a scholarship and travel abroad, and those who took part of the training? I think Joyce and Sarah can talk a little bit more about the process. And they have the prerequisites that we have. You have to be committed to the process. People who join So and be part of So, they need to be committed, and they need to fulfill the activities that we promote. I mean, everything that they do here, they collect points. So they have homeworks, they have assessments, they have engagement in our campaigns. So we're going to get these young people away from what they are used to doing, because everything that we do here is new to them. So we're going to test new skills so they can know new ways of working, developing and engaging conversation. And these are the characteristics of a So Bilingui young person. We are What we defend here is an open mind to the new. So if you want to visit abroad, you have to be open-minded. You have to understand and be open to whatever is new. So they need to be, when they get into the program, they had to be ready to all that. Now, I can rest a little bit. You're going to switch to English.
What has learning English meant for you personally and for your professional life as well?
Okay, now it's my turn to work hard with my speech, right, in English. I mean, it changed completely my life. English changed everything. So I feel much more confident when I started learning a second language. It was in the United States, as I said, as an au pair. It was the beginning, and I still had to learn more and more. I think English is never, you never stop learning, right? So I think when, let's see, like on personal level, mastering English has opened up a world of opportunities for cultural exchanges and global understanding. And it has allowed me to connect with people from different backgrounds, broadening my perspectives and enhancing my appreciation for different cultures. So English serves, I think English serves as a bridge to opportunities that is inaccessible, particularly for young people from low-income background, as I came from. And yeah, so this skill is really necessary to compete in the global job market, to pursue higher education, opportunities abroad, and access informations and resources that are often only available in English. So that's why I think So Bilingui is really important for everyone. So since I came back from Brazil, yeah, I think everyone should learn English. Everyone should speak a second language. It's very important. That's what we defend here. We stand for, actually.
Great. So this next question, I'm sure a lot of people who are listening are interested in, and I'll just preface this with saying anybody who signed up for the event, and we'll put the sign up link in, and indicated, I believe it's question number 5, right? If you're eligible and interested in So Bilingui, we are going to share with So Bilingui after this event. So if you're interested in making sure you get the information, please do sign up. If you're already signed up, you're fine. You will be, and you answered that question, you will be on their list. But the question then to you, Ariane, is when is the deadline for your next selection process? And what should our listeners know and do?
Okay, so we'll begin our next enrollment process for new students on May 20th, and we will approve 330 young people to study with us in the upcoming semester starting July 2025. So the program is free. There's only a nominal social registration fee of 30 reais. So participants will learn English, will receive individuals mentorship in English. So even if you know English as a second language, if you are listening to us and you know English, and you also want to be a volunteer in the program, you also can apply for it. So yeah, so individual mentorship in English, also emotional support, and have the opportunity to compete for scholarships for exchange programs around the world in countries such as the United States, England, South Africa, Malta. So we have many different opportunities.
Muito obrigado, Ariane. Agora eu vou trocar de novo para português.
Thank you so much, Ariane. We're gonna talk again in our roundtable in our Q&A session. Guaira, it's awesome to have you here today. I'm going to start with a question: is what happens within this 22 SO program? Thank you, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Within this 22 weeks, it's like a game. So you're gonna going through phases until you collect all the points, and the lead is the exchange program. The mothership is the exchange program. So within this time, our students, they have English classes every week, once a week. They have 1 hour and a half of English classes. They have different levels. So, and if you're an advanced student, that's fine. We have the advanced class. If you're intermediate, we have intermediate class. So the students are divided through initial task. They also have individual mentorship. So they have mentors that you're going to meet with their mentors like once a week or up to 3 times a month or more. And they have the psychological support. Every 15 days, they're going to have a meeting with our counselors, our volunteer psychologists. They have a journey to improve their English, to improve their personal life, to be self-confident, to be feel secure enough to use English in their life, and individual mentorship, not only to improve their English, but they also exchange and they become a reference. They have a reference as a mentor who probably has lived abroad, and it's very important to have all volunteers together, and with that we become a very strong team. Not only educational director, you're also an English teacher, right? So are there opportunities at So for English teachers? Because I know we have some people in our audience, those who teach English. What's the process? How does it work? Yes, we have opportunities to everyone, all volunteers. So all this process, they start in May, together with the enrollment process, the volunteer process for English teachers, mentors, and other volunteers start in different dates in May. You just have to follow www.sobilingui.com. You can see the dates that are when they're gonna start releasing the enrollment deadlines. English teacher, I mean, we have the minimum that we require. Mentors, they must speak English at a certain level. They don't need to have experience, but they need to speak English. The mentorship is set to have the students practicing their English, and our psychologists and therapists, they need to have a background in the area. So, yeah.
Super. Now for a couple of questions in English. What do you most value from the experiences that you've had abroad, and why?
It's difficult to pick one thing that I most value. I think, like Ariane said, it's a very, I don't know, like enhancing experience. You get to know so many different things. I would say number one is to get to know different cultures. Like you get to see the world in a different perspective, you know, that it's not only your culture, what you're used to, it's much bigger than that, and you don't have any idea of how big that can get. And I think personally, realizing how I could be independent out of my own comfort zone. So when you get to that point, that's when you're like outside your country in another reality, speaking another language. It's very difficult to express yourself, to be yourself in another language. It's difficult to find that little thing that you have in your own mother tongue. But then when you see around, when you look around and you're like, oh my God, I can do this. Like I can actually talk to people and get a job and go to classes, and that's great. That's life. So I think that part was the most valuable too. After that, I know I can handle anything. Like just throw me any ball. I'm good with anything. So that's the confidence you get from the experience.
Excellent. What advice do you have for the people who are listening to increase their chances of actually achieving international dreams? I think there's a lot of people who sort of daydream about, I want to go abroad, I want to go, and especially, frankly, what really is frustrating to me is some incredibly great people who say, oh, I can't do it, right? And it's not simple, right? But there are ways to do it, and Soul is one of them. So again, what advice do you have for our listeners on how to increase the chances that they actually can turn a dream into a reality?
I would say first thing, take advantage of technology. We are in the internet era. Like there are, I don't know, hundreds of opportunities out there. You can work abroad, you can study abroad, you can volunteer abroad. So you have a whole lot of different possibilities. And I think besides that, believe in yourself. A lot of people won't. They will tell you you can't, you're not enough, but believe in yourself. Don't give up. Do not. It's hard, like you mentioned. It's really hard. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but keep thriving, keep trying it. From a personal experience, when I went to the US, I had to get a 4.5 band score on the IELTS test. And I said, okay, my English was iffy. I got a 4.5 band score, not 4.6, not 4.5. And I said, okay, that's good. They're going to take me with the 4.5. So believe in yourself, do not give up, look for as many opportunities as you can. And you can start by applying for So Bilingui. That's a very good starting point. We offer great opportunities. So that's a first. But yeah, take advantage of technology. I would say that.
Ótimo, ótimo. Então, eu vou agora conversar com a Sarah e a Joyce.
Very good. Now I'm going to speak to Sarah and Joyce. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, but I'm going to ask the same questions to both of them. So first Sarah and then Joyce, and then I'm going to ask the second question in English, okay? Before we get into Q&A, I know that we have many questions from our audience, so keep sending your questions. Keep sending your questions. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, Joyce. And the question that I have for you both, what was your experience at So Bilingui? Good evening, Jason. I was a So student in 2021. I'm 24 years old. I'm an economist, and before being accepted at So, I was blocked to speak English. I could sometimes understand and read, but I couldn't speak and I couldn't write. And I think So was the program that not only allowed me to develop my abilities, it brought me a different view of what English can do to our lives. I had mentorships every week with an awesome mentor who managed to help me with my speech and writing in English. I had awesome teachers and colleagues that were very important to me and that I have contact, I talk to today. I was one of the scholarship student. So I traveled to Hawaii in 2022. It was an incredible experience that I can share with you a little bit more. And I like to think that the exchange program is not the end of anything. It's just the beginning. It was the beginning of so many opportunities that I had as a So former students, as So alumni. I became a mentor to other students. I helped other students from their financial point of view. To my experience was awesome, and I really hope to keep connected to So. Thank you, Sarah. Joyce is reaching us, but we need to take advantage of every moment. So she is in Illinois, Chicago. She's on her car. She's in her car right now. So what was your experience at Seoul? I was driving. I had to stop. I think that it was during the pandemic that I got to know Seoul. The world was in turmoil. Nobody knew what to do. And I wanted to go back and study English. At that time, I didn't have the financial ability to do so. And I don't remember where I heard So from. I think it was a friend, but I had a really problem of low self-esteem. I didn't think I would be able to study English. I knew already about the program, but I was really, really insecure. I don't know, I won't be able to do it. I'm never gonna get it in my mind. And when I get to know So, I saw so many people with the same fears and difficulties that I had. And So allowed me the confidence to carry on. So I think that the main change that I had was confidence. I like to say that had I not met So and being in a scholarship and not getting through all the challenges to, I think that I wouldn't be here today. One of the challenges that I had to sell something. And I said, oh, I've never done that before. How can I do that? I was really nervous. And I managed to understand most of the things that I could. And I didn't get the scholarship, but I received more. I have very good friends here in the US. I became confident with my English. I can speak here for hours because it was so important to
Thank you
me.
so much. Now, Sarah, you're up first here for a question in English, and I want you to think about the most memorable day that you had at Soul Bilingui when you were going through the program, and the most vivid memory you have of being abroad, and why do you remember it so clearly?
And at Seoul, I think my most memorable day was when the scholarships were announced, because I was not sure if I was in the top students, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. But when my name were announced, I knew that my dream would become true. So it makes me very emotional. And I don't like to see the video because I cried a lot. And abroad, and I had several memorable days, but I think the day that I arrived was important because I realized that I was in another country. You know, before you arrive there, you don't have a real idea that you are going to a new culture, a new country. So when I arrived, when my plane arrived, I feel very, I don't know, I feel that was real, you know? And also another day that I went in a travel with a friend from Germany, that we did camping on one of the most highest mountains in Hawaii. And in the morning, we go a little bit more up and watch the sunrise above the clouds. And at that moment, I realized that I was experiencing something that all the generations of my family didn't have the chance. And this made me very proud of me. And I think that's it.
That's great. Love it. So Joyce, could you do the same and just describe those two memories, please?
Yes. The first one I think it was in we had some classes every week about with a therapist, and I remember we had one special. Everybody was talking about what is your dream and why you didn't have this yet, like why you didn't have this dream complete yet. And I remember everybody started to be so emotional because everyone has the same problem, like about confidence. And we share experiences. And I remember I had like three friends there, and we had the same problem. We have the same, like, my family doesn't have money, and this is a dream so far away from me. I cannot live in another country because this is impossible. And I remember the therapist say for us, like, you are here. Like, if you are here, you have to believe. This is the first step. You just have to go and follow and study a lot for complete that. And I remember that I said, oh, I wanted to be an au pair, but I don't have the money now. I didn't have any money saved for this program. And I remember a couple months after, I just had the money. I don't know how to explain that, but I just had the money. I worked so hard in so many things. And I feel emotional now because I remember the feeling that I had. So I think this was the most emotional and good memory that I had about Soul. And I don't know, I think I remember when I arrived here, my English wasn't good because I didn't learn it, because I was so afraid to say and to speak. And I called to my friend, and my friend did so too. Her name is Francie. She's in Illinois too. And I called to her, and I was like, I don't know. I feel so afraid. I have my first class next week, and I don't know how to do. I don't know how to make friends. And she was like, remember that class that we had in Seoul, that we talked about this? And I just did. So, for example, my English is not perfect today, but I really don't care. I just can speak and can make friends. And I think this is the most important thing when you go out of the country, out of Brazil, you can realize that people really don't judge you. They just want to see if you want to communicate with them and you want to be friends. So today I have friends from Colombia, from German, from French, and I literally don't feel afraid to speak with them. And I think all these things I had because of Soul again. So I think make me feel more more proud of myself. So I think these is two memories, good memories about Soul.
Muito obrigado, Joyce. Muito obrigado,
Thank you.
Sara. Vamos agora para.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Thanks so much, Sarah. Now I'm going to the round table. I have many questions from the audience, and you can carry on. So you can keep sending your questions. I'm going to try to put together some questions so we can have a shorter answer. And then Dandra Catarino wants to know if there's a certificate of participation in the program. Gabriel wants to know the exact date of the event. Sara wants to know about the classes, how about lodging and food. Ariane, those are the questions that I think you receive all the time. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what is very fresh in my memory, scholarships. It's a game. We have different awards, and we have the exchange program scholarships, but not only that, you have other awards and those who win will win other things. So usually you have the scholarship is a 4-week English class that with a school that's our partners, and also the support before and throughout the exchange program. What the student has to be responsible of if they're plane ticket and food and entertainment or leisure expenditures that they might have. So our young people must be prepared because they're probably going to have some breakfast and lunch, but they need to understand that everything happens at a time. So all the students that we've sent abroad managed to do this trip with the money that we sent them. So they end up with at least 90% of the program. They have a certificate, they receive a certificate. I think it's valid for some universities and other courses. So we provide the certification. Another question, Jason? I think yeah, tickets. Oh, Carla, there's another question here that I don't know if the education director can help. Those are two separate questions, but I think they have something in common. Carla is asking, for those who are very beginner in English, can we participate? Do I have the skill right in the beginning? And Annette Awujo is asking, a very good question, actually, that she wanted to know about English books to apply to be a volunteer. What's the minimum amount of English that they need to participate in the program, and what is necessary to be a mentor and a teacher? In terms of a student, your English level doesn't matter. It can be a beginner, zero, don't know anything, all the way to advanced. We have all levels, so it doesn't matter if your English is not very well developed, if you're a true beginner, we're gonna have people that are gonna follow up on you regardless of your level of English. To be a volunteer, I mean, professor, we want to have an upper advanced, C1, C2, and to be a mentor, you can be an intermediate and up. Intermediate mentor could help students that are beginners. They must have the knowledge to be able to communicate with the students and have some sort of basic conversations. But from intermediate what level they can already be part of the program or can be a candidate for the program. Fabiana is asking about only those who study at Uninter can take part of the program, and how many openings that you have for courses and for exchange. Can you answer this question, Ariane? Yeah. Well, you at Uninter are having the privilege of having the information beforehand at the beginning of the enrollment and the registrations. So it's for the whole country. We haven't reached the whole country, but we are in 20 states, and people at Uninter can enroll from May 20, and we're going to open on May 20, and we're going to open 230 positions or openings, actually. So we know that people from different levels of English can participate. We have 330 openings. We have around 800 enrollments or 800 registered and applications received. So just to highlight, this is very open. I mean, participating in an application project and don't get there, it can be frustrating. But one of the things that I did a lot of interviews for a very an interview job interview process for a company that everybody wanted to work there, and that's something that I've learned so much, regardless of being accepted for the job or not. I mean, you can be a great candidate, and maybe for some reasons that are beyond their control, you don't manage to do so. Giving up before trying is the greatest mistake, and that's what I've learned from what Ariane said and Ganaira. And this is done by this is done for those who are in the beginning. It's a great opportunity, regardless of being a Uninter student or not. Why not take part of it? And the opportunity to be a volunteer for a great cause, it's an NGO. So the idea is to make the access more democratic. So we have a question from Ana Luisa. How do I register? How do I apply? You can go to our website, sobilingui.com. So means Soul, S-O-U-L. So when we open the process, you're going to have, it's going to be on our website. It's usually open for 3 or 4 weeks. So pay attention to the dates, write down with some, write out on your agenda, because you must, so you're not going to miss the deadline. Juliana is asking, what are the other awards not besides the scholarship? This is one of the questions, but what I've understood that you take part of the program. And can you talk about your path? How did you participate in the program? And of course, you were very successful. And in your answer, if you could answer this question, what are the awards besides the scholarship? And if you want to add to what Sarah said, you can go ahead. I mean, the program has advanced a lot since I started. So the best students in our ranking will win the scholarship, but other students, they will win different prizes. Like Ari can talk more about that, but vouchers for different classes. And not only that, so will actually make you progress in terms of your English language. We are used to those courses that take 5 years to go from basic to intermediate. And so is a different methodology. You have to immerse in English on their day-to-day activities. I mean, it's not only the prices, you are actually progressing. So I know 6 months is not much when you look from the outside, but you're gonna see how fast your English is gonna improve. And now I'm gonna share my personal history, my personal story. I was an intern, and my first day, she said that my manager said that I needed to learn English. Okay. I didn't know much. I had a basic courses to start learning, but I only realized that I was really getting better with my English when I joined and then I finally ended up being promoted. So it was worth it not only for the scholarship, but all the other opportunities. Just to say, just to add to what Sarah said, she's from a different edition, but now we are looking for more prizes to help people who are in our database. I know that we have a lot more than 10, 20 people willing to get a scholarship. So, but we're really committed to have partnerships with different institutions. We're going to have an online exchange. They're going to have this classes with international teachers and national students. We're trying to figure out different ways to award these people who are dedicated. Of course, the certificates are important, and the ambassador role when the person starts to be part of a program are one of the awards that we provide to those who are working. Amanda is asking about Viajara and the exchange program and its timing. If I understand correctly, we have these 300 and something that participate in the process where you choose the candidates. How do you choose it? What is the lead time to travel abroad? How does it work with the countries that you work with? Well, as you said, it's a game talking about exchange scholarship, and young people will win the opportunities based on their score. They can see the ranking with their score throughout the journey. At the end of the month, we try to hide these figures, but then we're gonna have, well, the game journey it's a journey, so we prefer they don't see the results in the beginning. You have from 8 months and 1 year and a half to follow up or finish this experience. The ambassador can get used for these trips. Not that they're going to get the scholarship and going to travel right away. We have at least an 8-month time so the student can get organized to take this trip with us. Now we have partner schools in the South Africa, England, Ireland. So we are growing in this type of schools that with us, they provide scholarships in general English so that our students can start studying and stay with us. Now I have like 3 questions that I'm going to put together. And the question is what you can do, what you can't. So Fabian is asking if you live on the Center West, can register or can apply. And then I have a question from Luciani asking, can you participate in the process as someone who is a little bit older? And then I have a question, Feridurf, I don't know if that's the name or that's how it shows in your rental. To minimum wage when you receive the scholarship, but we have the age, you have the geographic issue, and also income. Can you go over all that? Very good to ask about those who live in the Center West can register. Now we are in the Northeast, North, and Southeast, and now we have a campaign in our website that we are trying to raise funds to go to the whole country. So if you can support us somehow, we are very open, and we want to get to the Center West next year. So probably in February 2025, we will be able to open this opportunity to you, and we'll be able to register in November so we can be a part of So Bilingui in 2025. If those who are older can participate, you can get involved in being a volunteer, an English teacher. If you are you come from psychology, if you are a senior year student, and you can be a counselor. And we have different ways that people that are older than 26 to collaborate with So Bilingui as well. And if someone, we take it very serious. I mean, income, we really take into a part. We receive registrations for those who receive up to 2 minimum wage per person. So you have to meet all these criteria. If you apply and your income is higher than that, you're going to prioritize someone who follows and meets the criteria. So we accept the students with income per capita of 2 minimum wage. And what are the criteria to be among the 300 candidates that are going to be part of it? So for me, it's very clear once you are accepted, you have the gamification, but how do you choose who from those who have applied? How do you reach the 300? It's very important. I think it's a very question because you need to understand how your process works. I want something. I want to go abroad. I want to get this job. You need to understand what the other side is looking for. So very good question. And we're going to have another Global Hug event on the 30th, focusing in recruitment process. We've had many recruitment process. We had Santander. We have another process, and how to apply is, I mean, there are things that you go beyond your control, but understanding the process and the rules and what the organization is looking for is very important. So I'm doing the plug. We have an event on the 30th focus on the recruitment process and selective process. Now, Juliana and applications, basically. So Juliana Guaraíra, what are the criteria to reach the 300? As you said, I think the process, selective process is a process. I mean, you not only register and period. I needed 4.5 to score to go to the US. I spent months to be part of this action. So it doesn't take that long. It's 1 month, but requirements 18 to 26 years old, maximum 2 minimum wage per capita, have studied in a public school. And with that, we start the process. As I said, we are committed and we like people who are committed. So we have many steps, many stages. You're going to have to record a video explaining why you deserve to be. So you have to write a motivational letter. You have to send a series of documents, all with deadlines. You're going to choose the 330 that are committed. They are all on time. It's not a simple process. Oh, I've sent the documents and I'm going to wait. No, you do need to show that you are interested, why you're interested. And with that, you're going to reach the 330. And every step, people are asking for data and they don't send the video, they miss a deadline. And among the requisites, those that are going to get this position, this opening, is who are actually committed. And the students are going to be connected with other people here who are giving their time to make this student grow. So they're going to be connected to the English teacher, with the counselor, with their mentor. So they prepare their time. So it's important to highlight that among our research, 75% of our young people, they change their score in terms of their English level throughout the program, throughout the process, the application process. So these are information that make us really proud, that they change the English level. They start from an intermediate, upper intermediate, or upper intermediate, they go to an advanced. So this is proven facts, and so is dedication. They have to be really dedicated. So final question from the audience, because you're running out of time and we need to be very very punctual. So Gabriel's question is, how can you prove that I have that I receive less than two minimum wages as a salary? And then something for you to think about to do our closing round. Everybody's afraid, but being able to overcome this fear and don't be embarrassed. Don't allow fear of making a mistake to hinder an attempt. So you need to know about your mistakes. So I'm gonna go over this round with a challenge that you provoked. I mean, you had fun, and it goes beyond. You took the risk. It wasn't perfect, but you managed to survive. So let's go back to Gabriel's question, and then we go around to close the event. So minimum wage, how they can prove that they receive only 2 minimum wages per month. That's fine. We have the whole explanation when you get into this stage. You have all the forms that you need to fill out, that you need to submit if you are working informally, or if you, I don't know, there are documents for each criteria that you have. Even if you don't have the income, you have a specific form for this stage, and that's like the second to last. And you're gonna receive all guidelines from So Bilingui, and this step that will help you to get there, and all the documentation you need to provide. Now, okay, the ENR question, we've received another question here, and she said, I had a scholarship in a private school. Can that be incorporated to one of the answers? So I remember that I went to Mexico when I was 15. I was a really bad Spanish student at that time, and I thought that Bienvenidos was the family's last name. I was staying with a family called Bienvenidos. It took me a while to realize. When I went to Spain, it was something like that. Just to give you an idea, Bush 1 was the president of the US, was during the 90s. I was in Spain, and I asked a friend of mine, and that have the same age, who is this guy with the president? Is the interpreter? And he was the king of Spain. So you are gonna screw up many times, but I'm here, I'm alive, and you have to laugh of your mistakes. So that's just a few of my mistakes. Guarida, you can share your mistake and maybe answer Elvin's question. I don't know if you have this answer. So about this, someone who received a scholarship in a private school. Let me tell you my mistake. The second day that I arrived in the US, we have the guidelines, we have many international students here. So everybody was in the break for lunch, and people were like, oh, what's your name? What's your name? Where are you from? And so on and so forth. And everybody answering, where are you from? The person from, I'm from, I don't know. And at my time, I asked my colleague, oh, where are you from? And he said, try to guess. And I said, I've never heard what it said. Try to guess in English, try to guess. And I said, okay, nice, very nice. I spent the rest of the year saying, how is it? Where is try to guess? What country? What continent? And if you didn't understand, say that you didn't understand. Otherwise, you're going to be suffering jokes from about that mistake throughout the year. So now, Sarah, final question. I had many problems, but one that I remember, it was that in Brazil, we don't have the culture of giving a tip in a restaurant because it's already included. But I didn't know that. And I was having lunch with some friends in a restaurant, Thai restaurant. The waiter came with the check, and and the waiter left their change in the table. And I told my friend, I said, you're not going to get your change. You forget that your change on the table. He said, no, sir, that's the tip. And I was really embarrassed. I opened my wallet and I put back the change. So, and from there on, I have to give a tip every time because now I knew the rule that it's not polite not to leave a tip. For me, it was a very stupid mistake, but the first day I went to McDonald's drive-through, I told her, no, let me ask. I wanna ask I wanna make the order. And when I had to ask for French fries, I couldn't remember how you said. We use that in English, but I was so excited, I was so anxious that I said, can you give me some potatoes? And he was like, potatoes. And she said, okay, not potatoes, French fries. And I think it was such a stupid mistake, but it was important to me because you make mistakes, you forget words, and that was so stupid that I was so nervous that I didn't even think about that it was such a common word. Ariane, so you have this option to start with a mistake or with a question, with your answer. I remember at Alter, I couldn't speak English. I was an au pair babysitter at this place. The family I worked with was very patient, and I want to take a 1.5 baby to live the home. And I asked the mother if I could do so, and she said something that I didn't understand. And then she said, "I trust you." I didn't understand. I was like, "What is she talking about?" She said that I trust you, trying to understand because it wasn't as easy as ChatGPT and Google to get an answer for something. No. And I remember that I went there, I kind of understood that she authorized me to leave with the kids, and I was like, what is I trust you? And then after a couple of weeks, I've learned that it's something that I've never forgot afterwards. We're not always going to make mistakes in English. And about questions, if you had a scholarship at a private school, yeah, a private school, received a scholarship in a private school, and if they can participate. We're talking about in a high school. Today, we're not accepting those who received the scholarship but went to school at a private because you know that unfortunately public school has a worse educational level than private school. So right now we accept students that came from the public network. If you were if you received this scholarship for a private school, you can participate in different ways. I'd like to close by thank you all for your participation, all of you. I think So Bilingui is an awesome organization. It's a great opportunity for those who are in the beginning, because sometimes we miss that. And for those who understand the importance and those who are in a position of power, so do what you have to do, apply. That's something that So Bilingui said. You can get into So Bilingui website to do so. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to talk about So before we start your description, but no one that is not part of Uninter are not gonna lose anything. I mean, you can be part of the selective process for So Bilingui. So thank you so much. Ariane, Guanaíra, Sara, Joyce, and the whole team. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of your day. And that's it. Bye-bye. Thank you.